Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be having the last session for today. So a little bit introduction about me. So this is my first time attending PyCon, and yeah, it is a very great experience. To be honest, I was thinking when my colleague proposed for us to apply here, I was thinking really what topic to propose here in this conference because this is my first time. I don't really know what's going on here or what topics are being discussed. So I'm just thinking of something that maybe I enjoy. I think it's one of the uh, one of the things that's being said in the proposal that we can share anything that we want to share to the community. So I work at the Philippine Space Agency, and maybe I've heard one of my colleagues who presented most of who we are and what we do. So this afternoon I'll be presenting this topic that we automate our maps using PyQGIS. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect that I will be accepted here, but yeah, there's no turning back now. Anyway, yeah, it's still a pleasure to meet different folks who love the first programming language that I actually loved as well. So here's our agency. So we have 6 key development areas, and one of the things that we focused on, especially in our division, is on hazard management and climate studies. What we do in our agency is that we capture satellite data through computers in orbit. Some of us are training in the UK in order to develop our own satellite to be launched in maybe 2 or 3 years from now, and that it will be used in order to monitor more of our country for different applications. So in our agency, we use different satellite images, varying from open datasets which you can download freely on the internet. We also have commercial, which we pay with high cost, and we have sovereign satellites which we control through our ground receiving stations. So we make maps. We create maps for different applications such as for oil spill mapping, flood mapping, air quality mapping, land cover mapping, and ground motion monitoring. We also do um, different maps for disaster risk and reduction management, such as mapping the recent landslide event in Davao de Oro. And this one is mapping different burnt areas recently in Benguet. So when disaster strikes, what do we do in our agency? How do we respond to it? So I'll briefly explain what we do, and I call it the lazy man's disaster response workflow. Why do I call it lazy man? Because some of us, we try to automate things because we don't want to do things the hard way. We don't want to do things manually, so we take advantage of tools such as Python in order for us to do our task effectively. So first is we wait for the satellite imagery. If you're familiar with satellite images, they don't stay up there and they gather information for us hourly or every day. Instead, most of our satellites, they rotate or they revolve our Earth or our planet, and they return for a particular amount of days or even weeks. So we don't have really a constant source of data for monitoring our nation. So we wait for them, and then when those images come, we have a script for downloading them as they become available. So most of these processes are also done in Python. So we wait for a satellite image to come, and then we process them using different remote sensing algorithms and also AI, and then we post process them. So post processing we use GDAL and other Python packages for different vector and raster analysis, manipulation, and conversion. And for the last one, we lay out them because we want to present the data in a way that is that can easily be absorbed or interpreted by the normal people because we want our data to be able to uh, be used by non-technical people such as the government so that they can make decisions, better decisions based on the data that we have given them. And after that, it's like a cycle. We wait for a satellite image to come and then it goes on and on. So there are two particular scenarios where we use where this is effective. One is for flooding and one is for maritime domain monitoring. So for example, you can see in the right, our nation, there are several footprints of satellites that cover the whole nation. So imagine that each satellite, each footprint there, we have a satellite image that we know when will they come. So some of them, they come after 12 days and then, so we can predict them actually when will they come. However, yeah, because that is so much data to, or there are so much footprints that covers the whole nation, it will be very somewhat hassle to process them manually. So we use Python in QGIS in order to automate these types of tasks. So for example, this type of imagery, this is a radar or a synthetic aperture radar data. We want as much as possible to process this because in times of disaster, we want the information to be relayed in a timely manner to those who are concerned in those particular areas. So similar for maritime domain monitoring, when there are suspicious ships or vessels in our territories, we want our security agencies to be notified in a very timely manner. So I'll make this quick. So here are the tools that we use. Again, we use QGIS. It is a free and open source geographic information system. And we use the Python and the PyQGIS, which is a Python environment within QGIS. So it's like having QGIS plus the power of Python. Also, we use the GDAL library, which is an open source MIT licensed translator library for raster and vector geospatial data formats. So why use PyQGIS for map layouting? If you are familiar with GIS, you can actually use, you can do map layouting without any kind of scripting. But here I will try to convince you on using PyQGIS for map layouting. First is YOLO. You only lay out once. When you have successfully created a map layout, you can actually repeat that layout for that particular use case. So you don't have to worry about other details that might cause inconsistencies or some errors that might cause because of human error. When you have a working layout, you can actually, yeah, you can repeat it as much as you like. So you can set everything to your liking. You can change the different properties of different data sets on the fly. You can set which items to appear in the map even if you have so many layers loaded. You can read layer metadata and so on. You can produce consistent results and reduce human error. You can also perform analysis at runtime. So actually, if you are doing map layouting, it's like you are getting a capture or a view of your map. However, if you are implementing Python in your map layouting, you can do so much more. Because, for example, you can count objects at the same time while doing your map layout. In our maritime domain monitoring, it is very useful for our clients or partners to know how many ships are exactly existing at a particular time. Because, of course, if they found out that there are more ships occurring in a particular location than previously, they will be alarmed, or that will cause them to maybe perform an action. So you can also programmatically set a scale bar. So if you are doing mapping, one of the things that brings headaches to us is uh, the scale bar changes drastically when you are changing locations. Also, what I like most in PyQGIS is that you can sleep peacefully and have your maps ready in the morning, because even if the satellite image came at midnight, when you have a running script, you can actually wake up and have your maps ready in the morning, and you can even automatically upload or send the map layouts in email right after processing. So here is the developer cookbook of PyQGIS. So every version they release a cookbook for that. What's important in coding in PyQGIS is, for me, based on experience, you need to know the type of objects that you are working in. So if you are using a label object, you simply find the particular API for that. For example, you will use the QGIS layout item map. Sorry, my laptop restarted. But when when yeah, using the PyQGIS in map layouting, one of the things that you must know is that you know what type of object you are dealing with. Are you dealing with a picture? Are you dealing with a scale bar? Are you dealing with a legend? And based on my personal experience, you simply have to find the API in order to find the particular function or method that you want to use. So I'll try to continue even on the slides. When you are using PyQGIS, there are two methods that you can do. You can start from scratch, which I'll try to demo later, and you can also create your own template, and then you edit your template from there. Yeah, so I guess that's it na pala. So I'll try to demo with what little time I have. Alright. 5 minutes left. Yeah, but what I really like about this is that with Python, we can actually create. Naka-auto start siya. What I like having map layouts done in PyQGIS is that it simplifies our workflow, so that every product that we send out can be done in a relatively quick manner, especially during disaster and alerting our maritime domain situation or scenarios. So we use QGIS. It is an open source um, GIS that we can download for manipulating and opening and reading different types of geospatial data. So for example, I want to lay out a particular data such as this. This is a provincial boundary of the Philippines. We will use the Python plugin, Python console in the QGIS. So there is a Python console available inside the QGIS. So I have a demo script here. So in the interest of time, I'll just run this and let you see the output. So here I have created a simple map layout of the data. So I have here. Here is a map that is shown in the main map window, and then everything else I have coded using Python, from the title, and then I added a legend, and then a scale bar, a north arrow, and I can even add the logos. So, uh, what I like about here again is by providing, wait, here. By providing the functionality of Python, we can do so much more. For example, we can change the symbology if you have a existing symbology of a particular layer to be produced in a map. For example, this one, this has a different color if you can observe with what's presented in the QGIS main window, because I have changed it in my Python script. Of course, if you want to create maps, you want it to be consistent. If you're creating maps, you want it to be the same, so that users who will use your maps will have an easier time or understanding of what you are trying to show them. So this one is created from scratch, but I have also one that we can also use by starting from a particular template. This is what we use for flood map layouting. So here we have a particular map layout. So when you are starting from a particular map layout, it's just important that the objects that you use have a particular item ID, and this is what you're going to use to reference to your objects. And then everything else you can um, input to your code to change whatever it is that you want to change. And then I will simply run the script through the Python console. So here, for example, I will be running my script. I have already a working config. So I have a text file here which I use in my script, where I simply input the shapefile that we have for flooding. Here, I have inputted it here, the location of the shapefile, and then I have a script that I can run here in the Python console, which generates maps automatically for me. Here. So here it creates the maps automatically for me. As I have illustrated earlier, there are several strips or footprints in the Philippines, but I have full control over them because of Python. I don't have to change the map to navigate or to focus on a particular area. I do everything using Python, so that when the data that has been processed through our algorithm is already ready or finished, the map layouting is can be done in a very quickly manner. So I guess that's it. I hope I have imparted something on you. Thank you very much.
I want to ask about do you automate the image gathering processing? So uh, I saw on the slide that you got image from satellites,
Yes.
and then you put the image to the map that you relay out. Then uh, does the image always come on the I mean same location and same side, or does it get rotated, or it moves out a little bit? And if not, how do you automate it so the image can be placed in the right place in the layout result? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that question. When working with satellite images, usually most of the available satellite images have their corrections already on the location. So there's very minimal offset, rotation, even translation. If there is, there are actually developed algorithms for that in particular softwares. So, for example, in processing radar images, the Snap software has algorithms for correction of the location in order to make it more precise, or in such a way that when you loaded it in the GIS software, it is already in the correct location. Yeah, so most of the geospatial data available right now, usually before you use it, it has most of them are already corrected for their position.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, just just fall in line.
Hello. By the way, great maps. I'm just curious to know if uh, are those automation can be deployed in the cloud like AWS or GCP? Because before I set up QGIS on my local machine, it's difficult to set up. Wondering if you could set it up in the cloud.
Yeah, QGIS, especially QGIS version 3 has a command line version.
Okay.
So I have only shown what can be done inside the Python console inside QGIS, but there is also a command line version for QGIS where the codes can be run using a standalone script. You
Oh,
just important when doing that thing is that you have to simply run or find the environment variables associated with QGIS, because QGIS almost always have a particular Python installation that comes with
yeah.
it. You have to you load it also with other environment variables that it used, and once you have set that up, yeah, you can also run map layouting
But
in a
yeah, go ahead.
headless machine.
Relatively speaking, how difficult it is? Is it more easier to set up the the cloud version, or is it the local version?
Right now, if you're not really familiar yet with QGIS, it is easier to start it with the console, because like what I've said earlier, you can actually start with a template. You can create the template using the interface of the QGIS, and maybe you can start learning from there. You take note of the objects in QGIS, and once you're familiar with that, you can create your own map layout from scratch.
Right, sorry,
At least that's what I
last
did.
question. I know your talk talks about PyQGIS, but I wonder, in your work in Philsa, does GeoPandas also included in your workflow? And sorry, let me repeat the question. Is GeoPandas part of your workflow? And if yes, where does it in the process?
Hmm.
Sorry, difficult
Uh,
question.
I personally don't use GeoPandas,
Mhm.
though I'm more on OGR and GDAL when it comes to vector and raster manipulation. Some of my colleagues definitely use GeoPandas, and maybe other types of packages such as raster.io, Fiona, Shapely,
Mhm.
and yeah, pandas. But personally, I haven't used that, but definitely it can be used with processing satellite images.
Nice. Thanks.
Sure.
That's all for me.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Any other questions? We will be entertaining two one more question before we end. Going once, going twice. Yeah, okay. None really? Okay. Sold. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that talk and thank you for answering our questions. Round of applause to our speaker, everyone.